Wild Thyme Cooking with Allison Davis is brought to you by Corman Kitchen and Bath.
Welcome back to Midday Kentucky. Chef Allison Davis here in the Wild Thyme Kitchen. Hope you guys are having a great afternoon. Today I am actually making a dessert. I know it's kind of scary because I don't really bake that often, but this one is a great one. It's gluten-free. We're talking flourless chocolate torte. So this is going to go good with any kind of dinner. Anybody is going to love this. I mean, I don't know who doesn't love chocolate unless you have an allergy, and then I feel very sorry for you. But we are going to get right into it. So I have about a pound of chocolate. I like to use a combination of bittersweet and semi-sweet because I really like that flavor of dark chocolate. So I kind of get different bars, dark, semi-sweet. Ghirardelli is one of my favorite brands. You can find it pretty much at every grocery store. So we have roughly a pound of chocolate, and we have 2 sticks of butter, and we have just melted that over a double boiler. So this is the only way really that you want to melt chocolate unless you're trying to do it in the microwave, because chocolate just cannot go on a direct heat, otherwise it's going to burn. So over the double boiler, the water, the steam is what melts the chocolate and cooks the chocolate so that it's nice and smooth. So we've gone ahead and melted our butter down, and the recipe that you're going to get calls for amaretto, but we're in the hills of Kentucky here, so I use bourbon pretty much for all of my liqueurs, and it works great. Bourbon has such a wonderful flavor. So roughly about a 1/4 cup ish of bourbon into our torte, and then we are going to work on some other parts of this while the chocolate and bourbon and butter just kind of sit here and continue to stay nice and warm under that hot water. We're going to take eggs. I said this was flourless, so you need the eggs. The eggs are really going to be the binders. So 8 whole eggs that I'm going to go into this mixer with, because I don't want to mix these by hand, because we want to really whip them to where they're nice and frothy. So basically the 8 eggs are going to double in volume. So we're going to whip this with a whisk attachment on a high heat, and it's just going to continue to increase and get really nice and frothy and full of volume. So we'll get that going, and then we'll finish our torte up and get it in the oven. So our eggs are starting to whip. We're going to add to the eggs a 1/4 cup of sugar and just about a 1/2 teaspoon or so of vanilla. And then again, this is going to keep whipping until we almost double in volume and it gets super nice and frothy. All right, so we have let this work for a couple minutes now, just on a high setting. And this, I will show you here, is nice and frothy, and you can see kind of how that volume of the 8 eggs kind of doubled in size. All right, so now we're going to add our hot chocolate in bourbon and butter into our eggs. So I want to stress, you don't want to add all of the hot chocolate at once because you need to temper. So you add little bits at a time, and you just kind of fold that in and just work that chocolate in. And what that's going to do is that's going to slowly bring the egg temperature up so that it doesn't scramble your eggs. If you add all that hot at once, sometimes if it's too hot, it will curdle and cause your eggs to scramble. All right, so we're going to keep incorporating this chocolate in, and then it's going to go into our pan. And when you cook this torte with the eggs, you want to make sure that you have it in a water bath. So a water bath is simply just taking water, and the water is going to come up around the sides, and it's going to cook in that water so that it doesn't bubble up and it keeps it nice and flat. All right, I'll keep working this chocolate. I sprayed my pan. I also love a torte pan. So if you have a torte pan at home, the bottom will easily come out of the pan, and so it's really easy to serve that torte whole. This is just a cake pan, but you can easily, cut and pull that out and serve it. And so I have one here that's ready to go, and you can see where when it cooks, it has these little bubbles that kind of rise to the top, and that's because we cooked it in that water bath so that it stays nice and flat and doesn't rise and doesn't bubble up like a scrambled egg, right, or an omelet. All right, guys, I will put this recipe up for middaykentucky.com/recipes tab. You can find this flourless chocolate torte and many others. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Chef Allison Davis. We'll be right back after this short break. Hey.